Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm looking at Marvel Fanfare number 6. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be looking at a pretty awesome issue of Marvel Fanfare with a pretty cool creative team. But before I dive into that, I just want to say thanks to all the viewer support. Every like, comment, and subscription is appreciated. If you're enjoying positive comic content, please consider hitting thumbs up. Comments are always encouraged. And if you haven't already, why not subscribe so you never miss another video? Now, look at this awesome cover by P. Craig Russell. That is the main reason I even picked up this book to begin with. And it's a wraparound cover. Let me open it up so you can see the whole thing. Oh, sorry, it's not a wraparound cover. The backside is by Charles Vess. So there's actually a second story by Charles Vess in this. But anyway, I did get this. A lot of Marvel fanfares do have a wraparound cover. That's why, I don't know, I had a brain fart there. Anyway, I bought this book mostly because of this P. Craig Russell cover. I'm a big fan of P. Craig Russell. I generally enjoy everything he's done, or that I see that he's done anyway. And I'd seen this cover posted many times on Instagram, and so when I ran across it, and it was only a couple bucks, I had to have it, right? And initially, I was a little disappointed when I opened the book up, and I see it's actually not P. Craig Russell doing the interiors. At least he is doing the inking, but it's Sandy Plunkett is the penciler. And my initial reaction was a little bit of disappointment. But as we go on, I was off base on that. This is a fantastically well-drawn story. I have zero complaints about it. Really, I don't. Maybe P. Craig Russell helps out a little bit more than I realize. I don't really know much about Sandy Plunkett. To be quite honest, I can't think of another book that I've seen that he's really worked on. When I looked him up, he did quite a bit of stuff on like Conan and an Epic. Did a couple of DC things. He did do a Tom Strong's Terrific Tales, which I'm sure I read and just didn't know who he was at the time. But he does a phenomenal job on this. Mike W. Barr is the writer of this, and as I said, P. Craig Russell does the inking. As we get into it, we'll see this kind of picks up from a Marvel team-up. I think it's at an annual. There's an editor's note with this character here, and he's looking over Spider-Man, and he wants some revenge on Spider-Man. Very Doctor Strangey vibes, right? And Spider-Man and Doctor Strange have an interesting relationship. They both have the Ditko tie, obviously. But whenever they cross over, it's like there's some carryover of these like Doctor Strange villains that hold grudges against Spider-Man. And these pages are fantastic. The Scarlet Witch, who is Wanda Frank. I didn't know that she took the name Frank. Her last name is Frank when she married Vision, I suppose. I guess I just never paid attention to it. It's like I knew Wanda was married to Vision, and why he had a last name. Anyhow, she's just kind of chilling on the beach. She senses something, or magic senses something, and it's this guy. His name is Xandu, which we'll see in a minute. And just the figure work on this, and the way her body is drawn, everything about it's like you can see like the skeletal structure, the muscle structure. It's so well rendered, and then even on top of that, the panel compositions are great too. So he's doing a wonderful job with the figure work as well as making things dynamic. Like look at it here where she's been knocked down from a blast. You get good shot with her doing her like hand motions and stuff. She puts up a fight, but it goes against her and she gets whisked away. And then these Spider-Man pages, man, I see like Ditko in this. A lot of Ditko in this. Even maybe some like BWS kinda. But the Spider-Man figure, I like how he's elongated. You know, he's thin, he's athletic, he's not like bulky. Like I love a John Romita Spider-Man, but he was too bulky. I mean, really, he was. But I mean, you look at like just the way his legs look here. Look at that. The eyes are drawn. Look at it here. There may be a little bit of I don't want to say even swiping from Ditko, but there's some positions and stuff that feel like they're almost straight out of the Ditko issues. So he sees Wanda, and he goes up to talk to her, and he's like, "Oh, your eyes!" And she blasts him and sucks him into this other dimension. And it's, kind of a warp dimension. And this is very Doctor Strange-like, and he mentions it immediately. Like, the last time I saw a crazy place like this was when I was mixed up with Doc Strange. I wonder if, Spider-Man. So this woman runs up to him, and he is immediately like, "Who the heck are you?" And she's like, "I'm the Scarlet Witch. Can't you tell?" And she doesn't know. This is the Scarlet Witch's mind in another body. He takes her to a pool of water to see it. And again, just look at the body positions here. The startledness, just a little bit of like the startle of cartooning lines coming off of his head. Everything about this is just awesome. Colors, really vibrant too. I meant to point that out. This is Petra Goldberg, who is also Petra Scotese. Now, if you've watched my Hulk videos of the Joe Fixit era, Petra Scotese is the colorist on, even going back to the McFarlane issues, and I've kind of not been so kind to Petra on those issues. But I love this. Maybe it's the color. It's the paper. Maybe it's the paper that is just making the colors pop, but there's great blends and contrast happening here that just really, really stand out. After the Scarlet Witch realizes she's not in the right body, she doesn't have her powers, Spider-Man starts to try to explain that he already kind of has a clue as to what's going on, and he remembers this Xandu. Look at that figure too, coming up out of the mist. That's great. So here's where it mentions the Marvel Team Up 31 or 21? 21 is the last time these characters crossed paths, and it was Doctor Strange with Spider-Man. See, this feels like a Ditko pose. This totally feels like a Ditko pose. So Plunkett really dipping into the well of Spider-Man here to get that feeling. I love the way he does the mask. Anyway, so he explains that this Xandu guy is somebody that Doctor Strange has mixed up with before, and he's got this magic wand thing that when they last met, I guess there was this woman he was trying to resurrect, and he couldn't do it, and Doctor Strange said he couldn't do it either because she was like totally dead. And he was so distraught that Strange and Spider-Man just left him there. He said that he was essentially faking so that he could go try to find the wand again. And he kept trying to resurrect his beloved, who I don't think they were actually married. It's just a woman he loved. And it was never working out when he realized he was going to need to get another mind to put in there. And he wanted somebody acquainted with magic and witchcraft, so he targeted the Scarlet Witch. Again, I love the figure work on this. Like, just everything about the bone structure of her body and the way she's sitting and everything. It feels real. It doesn't feel exaggerated. Like I could see like a skeletal structure that is actually working there. So he swapped out their minds, and now he is just controlling the Scarlet Witch's body, while the Scarlet Witch's mind is in the body of his this woman that he loves, right? And Spider-Man's like, your plan isn't going to work because this isn't the woman you love. It's somebody else just in her body. And he's like, she'll learn to love me. So we're going to have a party, and Spider-Man, you're the entertainment as I try to crush you. So he sends these like creatures and stuff after Spider-Man, and the Scarlet Witch in her other body here. Well, she starts to run off with him there. Nice upshots here. Great upshot of this one, her startled expression. This is a well drawn story. Plot wise, it's pretty simple. It's just getting Spider-Man in this situation, in this nether dimension. These are always kind of odd stories when Spider-Man is not in like a urban setting, because he can't swing around and get up high and stuff like he normally does. Look at this little It's not even thwip. It's just thip as he shoots this snake dragon creature in the mouth. I think that's supposed to be his webbing in its mouth. Another great figure position here. A little long-nated, maybe. This feels very Ditko. I thought this panel transition didn't quite work, although I do love the composition of this one. Spider-Man's shooting webs onto her hands, but it feels weird because here he's below her, and you see him jump up, but now I guess he's above because he's shooting down, and he's trying to like bind her hands because I think he said that's something that can prevent the Scarlet Witch's powers from working correctly, but she just breaks them off with her powers, I guess. See, this panel feels more like Charles Vess to me than this panel feels more Ditko-ish. Great musculature here, and then we're just going to kind of wrap up the story here. There's not a whole lot to point out. He obviously defeats her enough. Well, he gets beaten back and taken to this awesome looking palace that's got this skull with these gigantic tusks, and there's where she's bringing him back, which is, you know, reminiscent of what's happening on the cover there. And I guess he is beat. He is beat because it's the ghost of the woman basically that comes and saves them all. She comes because somehow with him reanimating her body, it's called her spirit back from the beyond, the limbo, to set things right. And here it's revealed that he doesn't feel like, he says, stay away from me, spirit. I know your lies. You seek not love, but revenge because I killed you. So here we learn he was the one that killed her. Maybe the story the plot line would resonate a little bit better if you did read that Marvel team up, but you know, I did not. So here we are, and I like the story fine, but it's the artwork in this that's just knocking it out of the park. Nice punch, and it's the one punch in the whole thing. He says, that may be the only punch I throw during this whole mess, but it was worth it. So he was able to punch him and knock out his little, you know, wand thingy here he has, and they're able to use it somehow to get them all. I guess Wanda gets her mind back in this process, and because he created this world, it just starts crumbling around him, and they're able to escape. They get back to the main world, or to the real world, and he's like, my nose knows New York air any day. And then, you know, here comes Wanda, and she's looking like she's back to herself. And this woman's come back to life. Now, what's going to happen to her? That's a good question. He says, well, at least Xandu is at peace. And he's like, is he Spider-Man? I think not, because my soul came from the afterlife. The death dimension will require someone to take my place. And I fear that they have found just such a replacement. So he's kind of getting his, comeuppance there at the end. Beautiful artwork in this story. This would be worth getting by itself just for the artwork in this story, I think, and really digging deep into it. But we got another one. Did not read the letters page. This time we get a Charles Vess Doctor Strange story. I love Charles Vess. He's amazing. This is not bad by any stretch, but when you get used to a Charles Vess story where he has like the time and the want to really show off, you get used to that Charles Vess. So something like this, that was probably something he did relatively quickly, you're going to feel like it's missing something from that. You're going to feel like it's just missing something. It's still good. And this one has a fun Doctor Strange story. This is like right up the alley of like a original Strange Tales. We got Roger Stern as the writer, Charles Vess as the artist, so he's penciling and inking. Glynis Wein is coloring. Nothing really stood out about the lettering in this one. So this story is a young magic user. He comes to visit Doctor Strange, and immediately Doctor Strange is like, I know who you are, and I know why you're here. Let's go ahead and get this started. He's coming to challenge Strange as the Sorcerer Supreme because he feels like he's been studying magic, and he's ready to move up a spot by challenging, the most known magic user that there is. And this is a good Vess panel here. This is an awkward panel. You've got the wide stance leg through the leg shot of Doctor Strange with his cloak on is kind of neat. You look close at this panel though. Well, look close at it. Here. That's pretty detailed. That's a detailed panel. So Strange just says, since I am the challenged, I get to pick the location, and we're going to go in here, and the guy is like, you go in first, because this could be a trap, and Doctor Strange says, very well, so he just vanishes, and then he is inside. The guy has to follow, and you start with the surrealness of a Doctor Strange parallel dimension, kind of like we saw at the beginning of the other story, when Spider-Man first entered into Xandu's dimension. But this is where I'm saying, like, this is missing something from a Vess story. Vess would oftentimes take a panel like this and really fill it with surrealism. This is neat, but it's kind of empty. So the guy starts coming. I like these panel transitions, though, of the eyes, because he opens the door, and there's surprise, and then there's focus, and then there's determination. And he, starts hopping over these little stones towards Strange, firing magic blasts at him. Strange just easily deflects them, and then he redirects it back at him. So they have a little back and forth of displaying their powers here. But all of a sudden, the guy's blasting Doctor Strange. Good figure work as always with Vess, but again, it's like we're just losing the backgrounds. He's not really doing much with it. This is a cool panel of him getting swept away, and it appears Doctor Strange is dead, and the guy's won. So now he's the Sorcerer Supreme, and he's feeling pretty cocky about it. He's like, I did it. I beat Strange. But all of a sudden, someone else comes. It looks kind of like Baron Mordo, but it doesn't really say who it is. It's kind of indescript as to who exactly that is, and I don't know enough about every Doctor Strange villain to recognize him per se, but he comes, he just shows up all of a sudden and is like, oh, you're the Sorcerer Supreme now? Well, I'm here to challenge you. And he's able to, fend that off. That's a cool panel, but it took it out of him. He's like, starting to regret. Oh, well, now I've taken out two. That wasn't too bad. And this woman shows up. Same thing. She kind of appears friendly, but she's like, no, I'm here to be the Sorcerer Supreme. You don't deserve it. It's for me to be. I do like the energy use, the way the energy wraps around so it feels cylindrical almost coming at him. You got waves of energy, pretty consistent with how his powers seem to be, this yellow color, and it's wavy. And he beats her. And then this is when he realizes that being the Sorcerer Supreme isn't all it's cracked up to be, as all these interdimensional doors open and all these magic wielders come vying to take on the Sorcerer Supreme. And he collapses, like, this is too much pressure, I can't handle it. And then Doctor Strange reveals himself to not have been dead, that this was all kind of a trick. And he says, Doctor Strange, you're alive. You're back on Earth, or we're back on Earth. Obviously, you are a talented young man, but there is still much you must learn. Sorcery, without discipline, without mercy, can only bring ill. Only the most skilled of mystics have the control not to kill. And essentially he's telling him, like, you aren't quite ready yet. You aren't ready to challenge me, and you really aren't quite ready to be using the powers that you're using at all. But he sends him on his way. He can tell it's like, you're not evil. You were just ambitious, and you're not there yet. So, move along. Because he did feel the guilt of killing. Like, he didn't really want to kill Strange, but then when the other people started attacking him, and he was like killing them, or so he thought, killing them. It was already taking a toll on his own soul, so to speak. And then he goes outside and he runs across some kids, and they're kind of having the same kind of conversation. Like, you always have to be the top gun. Hey, where are you going? I'm the top gun. You're supposed to fall down until I tell you to get up. And as the guy's walking by, and here's his name's Ian. You're learning, Billy. You're learning fast. Shall I prepare your morning tea now, master? Yes, Wong. I'll take it in the study. There is much I must accomplish before noon. Before noon. So the guy shows up in the morning, and Doctor Strange is just like, okay, that's done. I've got other things to do today. That's great. Like I said, this was very much like a Strange Tales story. A lot of fun. Charles Vess, good work, but it's not the full Charles Vess. I don't know. I don't want to insult it by saying it's not his best effort or anything. I mean, who knows how much time he had to do this? They may have been like, hey, give us an 8-page story. We need it in 10 days or something. I don't know. So I don't want to insult it by saying it's not his best work. It's just not as detailed as if you were used to Charles Vess, something that you would normally get. Great back cover, though, as we already looked at the beginning of another Charles Vess piece. And that's Marvel Fanfare number 6. I think it's one, if you find it out there in the wild, grab it, because it's a fun one to look at. A lot of Marvel Fanfares are pretty good. Some of them have some good art and some weak stories. Some of them, they all pretty much have pretty good art. It was like a premium book with like high quality paper and stuff for its time. Sometimes the stories are a little on the weak side, I think, but definitely grab this one. It's got a great cover, if nothing else. Until next time, read your comics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my breakdown of this issue, you can support the channel by hitting subscribe. It costs you nothing and helps other comic fans find the channel. You can also visit readyourcomics.com for cool merch, like this. Read Your Comics isn't just a brand, it's a mantra. And when you wear a Read Your Comics shirt, you are helping spread the word. For more classic comics conversation, be sure to follow me on Instagram at read.your.comics. And if you're still here, why not watch one of my older videos? Here or here.